Hello and welcome. My name is Smiso Msomi and I'm happy to be home. Following a chaotic Soweto Derby followed by shocking scenes at Umhlatsuze Sports Complex, it's as you were in terms of the Betway Premiership title, as both Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns failed to capitalize on each other's mistakes over the weekend. So, what happens now? There's more football to be played. Orlando Pirates continue their search and their ambitions of trying to stop Mamelodi Sundowns reaching, or rather claiming, a 9th consecutive Betway Premiership title, while the Brazilians don't look as invincible anymore. Yeah, so I think, most eyes were on the FNB Stadium yesterday. If you're not there physically amongst the 90,000 that packed the National Stadium, you were, watching at the comfort of your home or amongst good company. But essentially, all eyes were on the FNB Stadium and that's usually what happens, of course, when the Soweto Derby takes center stage. We'll get more into the game and how perhaps it didn't live up to the spectacle that most people expected in terms of a football sense. But I think the game had everything that you would want a derby to have. And yeah, we'll further break all of those things down. But essentially, I think another successful Soweto Derby, maybe not successful the respective teams, or maybe more for Chiefs, depending on how you interpret that result. But anyway, let's get into the game and essentially some of the key talking points. Of course, let's start before the game. So I was at the stadium already when the fight broke out. The fight that has since gone sort of viral and everyone has seen. Clashes between club officials and bouncers and players as well were involved. I saw Miguel at some point. I saw Spissi Ndlovu had to have his head wrapped after the fight as well. So you would assume that he was involved in that as well. So what was that fight about? From what I could see, okay. Number one, we tried to ask the Kaizer Chiefs coach in the press conference afterwards what the fight was about, because he was very, of course, unimpressed with what had happened during their warm up. But yeah, man, it was with no relative success. Because he said, did you not see? People were calling me, asking me about my safety. Did we not see? I only could see from where I was standing. But yeah.
So I'm asking what caused it, coach.
I saw you people from outside. They are calling me to ask me about I'm okay or not. Outside, from another country, they call me to ask about I'm okay or not, I'm safe or not. And you are here in the pitch. You didn't see.
The coach has asked you a question, has responded to your question. So can you not have a dialogue? Can you please give back the mic?
Essentially, it did not result, in any significant detailing of the incident and why the fight actually broke out. But from what I could see, essentially these games, of course, we've come accustomed to football being associated with Umuti. So yeah, this is what happened again on the day. Orlando Pirates usually do their things, of course, but also Chiefs do their things as well. And they brought their man as well. I'll see if I can get a picture and actually put up that picture of that man as well. They had their man do their thing during the Chiefs' warm-up. But essentially it was an Orlando Pirates home game. So Orlando Pirates weren't too pleased about that and felt as if they could control the entire pitch. And therefore the security personnel hopped onto the Chiefs' half and essentially were trying to remove that man who seemed to be carrying something in a white plastic, something that I would assume would be umut. So yeah, that's essentially how the fight broke out. And then you had officials from Chiefs trying to protect that man. We saw Miguel at some point guarding that man with his life as well. So that's essentially how the two teams came into blows, which essentially resulted in Kaizer Chiefs pulling their players off the pitch and back into the change room, which I think actually informed another delay in terms of kickoff, because you remember that the game was initially delayed by 30 minutes because there were too many people outside. But yeah, I think that extra 15 minutes was because Chiefs had, of course, walked off the pitch at some point, and then they had to be given enough time to warm up and to be able to warm up and be prepared for the game. So that's essentially what happened. The entire fight broke out because people were trying to use Mmodi and other people just weren't allowing of it. So another person might say it's not a good look for football. Personally, I like a bit of edge in a derby. I like a bit of fight. I like a little bit of rivalry in a fight. So I was kind of hoping, well, of course, I wasn't hoping that it results in people throwing, fists like it's a boxing match, but we like a bit of a scuffle every now and then. So yes, I didn't like it when it broke out completely, when it was uncontrolled, when it was people were flying essentially and kicking others, and others were throwing fists. But to a certain degree, I like that sort of bit of edge. But anyway, that happened. Moving on into the game, and it seemed as if the Chiefs players carried that energy onto the pitch, because essentially the entire 90 minutes, or rather, I think the first 45 was very different from the second 45. The first 45 you saw as essentially what Chiefs were about. Chiefs were did not come there to play, basically. Chiefs wanted to turn the game into a physical contest, and who would blame them? After that 3-0 loss about a month ago, I think you would have expected, and most Chiefs fans probably expected to see a bit more fight, and even if it wasn't more fight, but they essentially expected to see something different about the Chiefs side, because the last time these two teams faced each other, Chiefs tried to play a very technical game. They tried to go pound for pound with Pirates, and essentially came up short, because I just think that's just the current standards of the two teams. Pirates have a better team in general. They have a more solid team. They have slightly more technical players than Chiefs. So that showed in the result as well, because they lost that game, and a lot of people questioned whether this Chiefs team had any fight about them, or they questioned even the fact that this group of players even understood what the Soweto Derby was about. So essentially, when you see how that first 45 minute pans out, I wasn't shocked. I could see, and amongst my colleagues as well, we were discussing the fact that Chiefs had to do something different. Chiefs had to employ a different kind of tactic, and they did. The closest reference I could have taken it to at that stage was how North African teams play. North African teams, yes, they are technical to some degree, but they also understand everything else around the game. Other people nickname it the dark arts, essentially. So I think Chiefs fully took on that role yesterday and embraced it for what it was. No one expected Chiefs to win the game, but they sort of understood that if they were to have any chance of winning that particular game, that they would need to move the game slightly away from a technical, pure football kind of feel into more of a fight, into more of a contest where they would have a chance as well. And essentially, it worked, because speaking after the game, Coach Abdeslam Madu touched on the fact that Pirates lost a lot of the jewels, and that essentially contributed to how the match panned out, because the more jewels you lose, the more fouls that are committed, the slower the game becomes, and that doesn't suit Pirates. Pirates like to play a fluid game with good tempo, with good momentum at each moment, and they only found that essentially around the last 20 minutes when they had gone a goal down. So yeah, first half, second half, two contrasting games. Of course, Chiefs were always going to be dangerous on the counter-attack, and what Dileduba produces at that stage, what was the moment of the game. And he produces that, leaves two men for dead on the wings, and sets up Mmodi for a good tap in at the far post, and the energy sort of seemed at that point as if it was shifting with Chiefs. It seemed as if the Pirates were just not there, and they just weren't up for the occasion. But Pirates are a really, really good team. They have shown it over the years. They have shown an ability to come back from probably the most tightest of conditions, and yes, they essentially fired back. I think 6 or 7 minutes later, Dion Hotto with the shot, Brendan Peterson. Good shout out for Brendan Peterson, by the way. Again, another player of the match performance. Yeah, so he parries the ball into Sebebele, who taps in. So essentially, both teams feel as if for what they contributed to the game, they both deserved to win the game, and you can't fault either coaches, because it seemed as if the Chiefs' plan or the Chiefs' tactic was working before they actually conceded the goal, and it seemed as if it would be their day. But also Pirates would say they had a goal incorrectly chucked out, the Oswald Apollos goal in the first half, but they also created chances, and they forced Peterson into about 5 or 6 saves. So that as well speaks to the possibility of Pirates actually winning the game. So two sides of the coin. Both teams could have won the game differently, or in different ways, or in different styles. But yeah, essentially I thought maybe the draw was a fair result. Perhaps Chiefs were more pleased about the draw more than Pirates, and you can't really blame them again, because if you look at football like at its purest, Pirates are a better team right now, and there's no denying it. Pirates have won more cups in recent years. Pirates are higher up on the standings as well, so you don't really blame Chiefs for feeling as if they made a huge step in terms of progress by being able to match this Orlando Pirates team, and more especially after being beaten 3-0 about a month ago. Not that many people gave them a chance. They probably thought they'll probably get rolled over again. So for them, probably, feels more satisfying than Pirates. Then Pirates probably think they dropped more points again in the title race, which is more significant now, more especially because Mamelodi Sundowns actually dropped points in their own trip at Umhlatuz. Pirate Sundowns don't look as invincible anymore. Yes, in the second round of the season, they've sort of found their groove and found their bounce and found their swagger, essentially, but they don't look like. Which is contradictory or contradicting, considering the fact that before this game, or before the Stellenbosch game, they had won 10 games in a row, but now they've drawn 2 games in a row, which essentially doesn't back up the overall suggestion that this Mamelodi Sundowns team are just basically going to steamroll everyone until the end of the season, and which has, for me, opened a big window for Pirates to take advantage. So now the major problem is Pirates also drop points as well. So you don't really know. Pirates have 9 days before they play the next game, and I think they're traveling down to Stelies, which is going to be a very hard game. And you don't necessarily see Pirates going in there and getting 3 points and getting back home, just purely because of what we've seen against Chiefs, Richards Bay, and Siwelele FC. Sundowns have a game on Wednesday against Polokwane City. I think they're playing Polokwane City back to back. Again, you don't, in as much as Sundowns are favorites, but you wouldn't be shocked if Sundowns go into Seshego Stadium, because that's where they're going to play the game. If they go to Seshego and they drop points again, like it's been that kind of season. I mean, it's very, very interesting for the neutral. We love it because we want to have a competitive league for as long as possible. But when you look at the two teams, it's almost as if the eventual winner will be decided by who drops the least points from this position moving forward. And whether that's interesting, I don't know. It would need to turn into a more complex discussion. But yeah, both teams at this point, they are good teams, but they don't look like they are untouchable. And yeah, man, perhaps that's a good thing actually, because Sundowns as well went down to Mhlathuze, couldn't score, couldn't get all 3 points against Richards Bay, and a lot of people did say that perhaps going down there is not the easiest of situations for Sundowns to find themselves in. And in a weekend where Pirates were expected to not have the easiest weekend as well, playing their biggest rivals in the Soweto Derby, maybe Sundowns going to Richards Bay was a blessing in disguise for Pirates, because you all know Chiefs didn't win at Mhlathuze. They lost, in fact. Pirates didn't win at Mhlathuze Sports Complex. So Sundowns go there as well, and they essentially weren't able to win. So that's a hard place for teams to go. So yeah, after 2 thrilling matches, a crazy weekend of Betway Premiership football, I think, yeah, man, it's as you were. And what the Betway Premiership race will turn into now moving forward, I think no one can predict. But I think we are still hoping for those, magical moments where someone just decides that at this point forward, I will take my team to the title, or both coaches do things in their teams that will essentially drive their teams for the next 5 games. But I think it's going to be a very interesting run-in, and yeah, man, we're definitely here for it.